All right, Andy, are you braced for the winter storm? Are you braced for like government shutdowns and all sorts of like inability of people to function in the snow?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's happened. Schools are closed. Local government is closed. Businesses are rescheduling appointments. I mean, we've got 4 inches on the ground out here, Dave, and it's complete pandemonium.
Well, it's quite amazing to see all this snow coming across, and yet we're just on the outside of it here in Charlotte. So it's a little disappointing because I'd like to see a little snow, but I don't know if I want to see your level of craziness for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I mean, it's just funny how different parts of the country react to equal amounts of snow, and it's always every year. It's absolutely devastating to the DC region when we get those first few inches, but we'll endure. We'll blame Canada for it, and we'll endure.
There you go. All right, Andy. So, first full week of January, we're back at it. We're back on our 3 day a week schedule. No more holidays for the
That's right.
time being. Are your Christmas decorations all down?
Oh, Dave, you know it. You know it.
Yeah.
They had to be. I mean, they absolutely had to be. So they went down. I wrestled with, do I let him go into that first weekend of January because it felt too early to take him down? But I couldn't do it. Like New Year, no ornaments. It's got to be clean. So they went down. My wife and I cleaned up inside the house. I cleaned up outside the house. Fresh start, Dave. How about you? Did you keep going?
No, my goal this weekend was to take down the outside lights, and I mission accomplished.
Yeah.
And we were like, you know what? Let's just take it all down. And so we took down most of it. There's still some lingering things here and there. And you never know. Like there's always that one like decoration that you had and you missed it during the pack up. And so there'll be some of those a little bit here and there. But for
Yeah.
the most part, we're down. It's a little sad to me. And like the houses look naked here. It's that weird period because you decorate for spring already? I don't, it's hard to know. So
Yeah. Yeah. It is. There's something to be missed, but it's also exciting to have that fresh new time of the year.
yeah, yeah. I think I just love our holiday decorations so much that it's hard for me to take them down. So
Yeah, sure.
I'm now looking forward to it. 11 months to go. We can set those things back up again.
Yep,
All right.
that's right.
Andy, let's get into our topics for this week.
Yeah.
I think we have to start with pro football, right, Andy? So
I mean, we can.
because your Detroit Lions on a Sunday night, you stayed up late to watch it, but you're wearing a shirt that says the 2023 NFC North champions,
Yeah,
also the 2024 NFC North champions. So
right.
congratulations to you and to the Lions, Andy.
Yeah, it was Dave. It was a big game, way past my bedtime. I was up a little late than I planned the night before, so it's Monday morning. I'm already running on fumes, but that's okay. I've got plenty of coffee, Dave. It was a great win. I mean, this was a kind of mellow closing weekend for the NFL. There wasn't a whole lot left to be decided. Some terrible games to decide the NFC South, for example. But Lions Vikings was hyped up, and it was a very strange game, very low scoring first half. But man, the Lions came on. Jahmyr Gibbs came on, 4 touchdowns, and just really said, "Hey, we're the NFC's number one seed. Leave us the hell alone." They made a statement, and they looked really good. So it was super fun to watch. Lions fans were super excited on the socials. You could hear the crowd yesterday. It was awesome. So yeah, very excited for the Lions to enjoy a bye week. And Dave, it's the second season. So playoff football is here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go through our picks for that
Yeah,
later in the week, but uh, I watched the first half, and I'll have to be honest with you, Andy. I was like, man, the Lions are, this doesn't look great. The Minnesota was getting some fortuitous opportunities, but they couldn't cash it in,
yeah,
and that ultimately wound up being their downfall because then it was just poured on late. But I was happy for you, Andy, for sure. You talked about some of the other games, Andy. I was very interested in that first set of games on Sunday with the Buccaneers playing the Saints and then the Panthers playing the Falcons.
yeah.
The Falcons were trying to win. They had to win,
They would,
right?
yeah, they did.
And and the Panthers looked they were exciting. Bryce Young was exciting for he was shat on so much. I was glad to see it. Now look, they're 5-12. They still have a long road to go, but for a city, it was pretty exciting to see them battle pretty hard. But the Buccaneers got that uh fourth seed, so good on them. So it should be exciting thing. And then the Broncos won the seventh seed. Andy, we talked earlier in this year about those early September games
Yeah,
costing teams. And I don't know if you'll remember, like everyone was saying the Bengals this and nobody wants to play the Bengals in the playoffs. Their offense is so crazy. And that may have very well been true.
yeah,
Andy, the first week of the season, they lost to the New England Patriots. And it was an upset then. And this is just what happens when you aren't ready to play week one. That game changed the
everything.
that was it for them. And there are other teams, the Seahawks had a bad loss to the Giants earlier this year. I mean, a really bad loss. And some of these games you just cannot give away that first couple weeks of the season. It's just
Yeah.
unfortunate. So,
Yeah, there's gonna be some teams living with regrets, Dave. I mean, that's definitely gonna happen. The Bengals might be the best example. I mean, they played a nice game on Saturday. They could have been a dangerous team if they made it to the playoffs, but they didn't, and they're gonna live with that regret. I mean, one could argue your Cowboys blew a couple games early on this year. You called the Saints game early on. You know, win one or two of those, different conversation. And once you get into the playoffs, like nothing matters anymore. It doesn't matter if you barely made it or if you're the one seed. Just win games, and you've got a chance if you make it. Didn't make it. Bengals are going to sit this one out. I think they could lose their coach. I think that could be Ben Johnson's next assignment. As one of two likely landing spaces. I think we'll see. But there's already been some firings. I don't know if we want to get into that today. I think some
yeah.
bullshit up in New England. But yeah, you live with regret. There's a couple of decisions. That time you went for it and shouldn't. The time you didn't and you should have. Those things come back to haunt you.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about that. The New England Patriots, Andy, they did fire their coach immediately after
Yeah,
beating the Buffalo Bills. Somehow they didn't understand the assignment because uh, all New England had to do was lose that game. They put in Joe Milton, their backup quarterback. They, but guess what, Andy? Buffalo wanted to lose more, mostly I think to spite New England. And as a result, New England went from the number one pick now to the number four pick, which was only, I mean, again, last week, the same thing happened with the Giants. All they had to do was lose, and they would have kept the number one pick. They won, they dropped back. Now I think the Giants are the number three pick. Um, this is just comical. And then afterwards, and then New England fired their coach Jared Mayo, who for everything I've read was a disaster as a coach. He was really but he was hand selected to
yeah.
replace Bill Belichick. And the Crafts. Has anybody had a worse year this year than the Kraft family? They did that Netflix documentary that pretty much said that they were the reason why the Patriots were so good and not Bill Belichick. They had all of these other, like, they just kind of dumped on him in every way possible. And now they're, I don't know, whatever their final record was, 4-13. They have a good quarterback moving forward, but they don't have much else to tout. Good on New England there.
Yeah, I mean, look, Dave. Yes, they blew the number one pick. Like that happens, that happens. You're not supposed to go out there and throw. The Bills maybe throw harder. The team's got to play the football game. Jared Mayo may or may not have been a great coach. It's hard to tell. His team overall sucked, right? I mean, that team wasn't winning football games. I don't care who the coach was, right? And so, look, I'm just going to say it, Dave. I don't think he ever had a chance in Boston. I don't think a black head coach in Boston was going to last any level of failure. Like it just being straight up on that one. I don't think he had a chance to fire a coach after one season. Like there's
Yeah.
got to be some serious failures to do that. Like we're talking Urban Meyer, right? When you take over a bad team, you got to get more than one season because you can't turn around in one year. And so was Robert Kraft just pissed off because they blew the one pick? Like maybe, which probably isn't the right call. Did he just have his eye on somebody else? People are saying that Mike Vrabel's like hot on his radar and he wants to snatch him up immediately. Maybe, but Jared Mayo didn't have a chance to really be a head coach here. The team sucked. Yeah, I don't think he ever had a shot. I think he was
Yeah.
a sacrificial offering to the NFL gods. I don't think he was ever going to be the long-term New England Patriots coach. Nobody's leading that team to victory this year. You know, I'll leave it there, Dave. I'll
All
leave it
right.
there.
Well, you heard my ringer in the background there, Andy. If you
Yeah,
didn't, that was my ringer going. But yeah, well, there's gonna be more coach firings here in the next couple of days. This is Black Monday for a reason. Usually, a lot of coaches get axed today, so we'll see. We'll see what the Cowboys do with Mike
yes,
McCarthy.
we will.
I mean, I've got money on that he's going to remain the Cowboys coach, so we'll see how that goes.
I
But
hope your money's good. I believe in you guys. You can do it. You can blow it again.
Jerry's older than Biden. He's going to just want to stick with something he knows.
Yeah,
But maybe he should give up the general manager thing, Andy. It's ridiculous.
maybe. Yeah, yeah, maybe for sure.
So, all right, Andy, let's move to another
All
topic.
right,
Let's
all
talk a
right.
little politics here, Andy.
Okay.
There's a couple things I want to hit on. First of all, this is January 6th. This is the 4-year anniversary of the assault, the attack, the insurrection on the US Congress that was prompted and spurred by the former president. Now he is now the president-elect. Please, nobody come at me with anything else with that. Please, I think we all know the facts here. Um, and so the 4 years passed since then. Everyone's like, "Well, what's going to happen on this day?" Nothing's going to fucking happen because Trump won the election. So, like, I don't think the Democrats are going to mount off. I don't think the liberals are going to walk on Congress and storm the Capitol building. So they're going to certify the election, which is what happened. It was a fair
Yeah,
election.
yeah.
That'll go through. Um, but and I'll let you comment on that in a minute. But there was also another report out here in the last couple weeks about the most recent Congress, Andy, the 119th Congress. Two things on it, Andy. One, the lowest amount of bills passed in that period for that
Yeah.
Congress, and not by a short amount, by like a significant amount. That's one. But then two, this is the oldest Congress, or one of the oldest Congresses in, well, it's definitely the oldest Congress in the last 3 decades, and it's not even close, Andy. I mean, the two have to be linked, but it is interesting to see they published a timeline of when the ages of Congress over the last 100 years or so. And I just find it interesting that in the 80s, it was the lowest, like the lowest, not like
The
the
youngest.
the lowest young. He is youngest. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And then now you have it. We're at the oldest level. So those guys from the 80s, they're still here, Andy.
Yeah, that's
And look,
right.
we like, we're from the 80s as well, but we're certainly not making decisions for the country. So I shared those with you. So what do you think on those fronts here, Andy?
Yeah, well, I mean, on the number of bills passed, I mean, look, passing legislation doesn't necessarily indicate like useful productivity, right? I mean, passing laws doesn't necessarily mean you're doing something good and positive, but it does say you're doing something, right? It doesn't. It is one indicator among many of what you're doing. And the reality is today we've got folks in Congress who want to spend more time on cable news, building their brands, preparing for their second careers whenever they have to leave Congress, than actually getting in there and doing work, right? They're constantly just raising money, kissing ass. They're making a lot of money while they're there. They don't want to go, and they're not actually doing any useful work. They can pass bills that are like basic fundamental bills, which they should be able to pass, authorizations, reauthorizations, reasonable spending bills done in an organized manner. It just shows that they're not productive, and that's a universal, both sides of the aisle failure. On the age piece, yeah, you're right, Dave. I mean, one encouraging thing, Gen X for the first time ever outnumbering the baby boomers, not by much, because the baby boomers are hanging on with every ounce of strength they have, and they're dying shivered up hands. But but Gen X at least having a majority, or the most, I should say, of any one generation. And gosh, that's notable. Let's see if we do anything with it. As far as the election went this time around, Gen X didn't do what I expected them to do. But let's see what Gen X does. Now we finally have the biggest numbers in there. But it's an old Congress, and that's not serving America's interest. The future belongs to the young. We should have definitely in the House, like we should have more young folks filling those positions that represent the future. Gen Z's coming up quickly, but really, millennials should be there. They should be a big presence in the House. But they're both old. They're both way too old. It's why we need term limits, Dave. It's why we need to rotate people in office, serve get out, go do something else, quit making money on the backs of taxpayers.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So it should be interesting as we go through this now 120th Congress to see what happens. This is going to be this is going to be it for Trump. He's got a 2 year window, we think, where he's going to come in the next 2 weeks and usher in or try to usher in bills. He does have, I guess there was some reporting over the weekend where they want to put one massive bill
Yeah,
together as opposed to piecemealing things that I feel like that might be harder to get accomplished, but we'll see. Maybe it has to start big and then get piecemealed along. But I will be interested to see. But you come back to this point with term limits, Andy, and I think that's one of our, lack of a better word, key takeaways. I think from all of this, we've been talking about this for like 2 years, or as long as this pot has been going on, and we've been railing against the political system. I mean, there has to be a discussion, a very real discussion about term limits.
yeah,
The unfortunate part is that the people who have to do that are the people who you would be limiting. So I think it poses kind of a catch-22 there. But I'm a big proponent of this. Look, you can do it responsibly. Make it 24 years. That means 4 terms for senators and 12 terms, God forbid, for House of Representatives. I think they should change House of Representatives to 4 years.
yeah.
They get in anyways, and as soon as they get in, they have to start campaigning. So, um, but another thing, Andy, I was thinking about is should we not like have an election scorecard for these politicians? Like if you go like look on the back of a baseball card, for example, for anybody who collects baseball cards or hockey cards or basketball, there's stats on the back of it.
Yeah.
It tells you what you did for your season. Should we not have something like that for politicians? I know some people have tried to do this, but like how many days were you actually voting, in-person voting? How many days, what bills did you do for your constituents? Which bills did you vote for your constituents? What bills did you propose for your constituents? How many, how much money are you taking from from third parties? I think there's some sort of metric that we can do for this, Andy,
Yeah.
and put a scorecard together for these people to help voting.
Yeah, I think it'd be great, to be honest. I think it'd be great because just basic numbers, right? Not nonpartisan, right? Not
Yeah.
amplifying anything, just like some basic facts, what you did, how long you served, bills proposed. I think it'd be great just to see, like, are you doing anything? Like, have you done anything useful? I'd also like to see how much you came in with, your salary and wealth when you came into office, and how much you're currently valued at today. I think that'd be an
Yeah.
interesting little number to see, right? How much have you made while serving in the nation's capital? I think people should have transparency on what these guys are doing while they're in office and be able to make more informed decisions. I think that'd be a great service. Hey, C-SPAN, like let's put that together. Let's get that out there. Make some nonprofit revenue there. Like there should be somebody nonpartisan that should do that. I think it'd be a great resource for the voters.
Yeah, I mean, it really would be. I mean, like, because again, it could help in the primaries because a
Yeah,
lot of these primaries are just, how many times do you hear, I'm going to out primary you or I'm going to primary you out because, you weren't as strong, you're a rhino or you're not
yeah,
as strong of a liberal. So we're going to get rid of you. But is it just because of what? I mean, but what else have they done? I'll go back to the North Carolina representative here, Jeff Jeffries. I think that's his name. But I mean, his district got realigned,
yeah.
and then he went for attorney general. He won attorney general, but it wasn't because he was doing a bad job. It was because the state went against it. It's quite. Anyways, so Andy, any lasting points on this on politics?
No, we didn't spend a lot of time on January 6th. Happy January 6th to you. That's I'll just leave it there. I know you started out with that, but we'll just leave it there. I don't have the energy to get into January 6th today.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
Very little patience for the January 6th arguments. Those guys will all be pardoned here, I guess, in the next.
that's right.
Yeah,
Patriots.
yeah,
Patriots.
exactly. Patriots, fucking pisses me off. So, okay, and God dang it, Andy, now you got me riled. So, okay, Andy, let's talk about other things from the weekend. I've shared a couple movies that I've watched over the last couple weeks. Andy, we went to Wicked. We saw that. That was fun.
Yeah.
It was a good time. A couple other movies that I went to, had a good time with those. You also took in some movies over the last couple weeks, Andy. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
Gladiator. You know,
So my wife is not in school right now. When she's in school, it's hard. It's just no time for movies. You know what I mean? No time for show. But she's on her winter break right now. So we're enjoying a quiet start to the year and took in a couple movies weekends. We saw Gladiator 2 and we saw The Fall Guy, Dave. And so I'll say Gladiator 2 is fine. It was entertaining. There's some, like I really enjoyed Denzel in it. I thought the story was fine. It was a Gladiator remake, a little bit more of everything, wild arena, crazy fights, extreme characters. It was entertaining. It was fine. Didn't love it just because associated with the original and Russell Crowe. Part of me hated it, but it was fine. So, but Dave, the Fall Guy, like completely surpassed all expectations. There's a song from me. There's a remake of Kisses. I Was Made for Loving You that came out. Love the song. It was a great remake by Youngblood. I was enjoying that. This last year is one of my top songs. Didn't watch the movie. Didn't hear much about them. I knew it came out, but didn't hear much about the movie as far as reviews or what. So we put it on. Dave, it was so fun. It was a couple hours. There was nothing more to it than hey, here's this movie. There were some nice callbacks to the show. It had a two season run back in the very early '80s. It was fun. It was action packed. There was the romantic comedy portion of it. There was a lot going on to enjoy. The acting was good. Just pure entertainment. Ryan Gosling Jr. was great. Emily Blunt was great. Winston Duke, who some might remember from the Marvel Universe, he played one of the big tribal leaders in Black Panther, was very good. It was just a fun couple hours. Gosling was terrific. I mean, he was terrific in it, and it was just really enjoyable. When it finished, we were like, that was great. Like we were thoroughly entertained. Didn't have to think about anything. Not worrying about what's going to happen 2 years from now when part two comes out. There's no Fall Guy extended universe. You know what I mean? It was just a fun movie. I would recommend that to anybody. It was really well done. Congratulations to that team. I was thoroughly entertained.
yeah, the Fall Guy, I'll say is that was a movie I wanted to see. I heard it was like lukewarm, so I was like, well, but I did want to see it, so now I'm gonna have to go back and watch it, Andy. But
Yeah.
here's the bigger question, Andy. Where are you at with Ryan Gosling?
I like him, Dave. I think there's a long time when I couldn't have told you who was Ryan Gosling and who was Ryan Reynolds. Like there are these two young Ryans. They looked too similar. They were the same age, essentially. Like I knew there was two guys that I didn't know the difference of. Ryan Reynolds, I think, he really he took on his sarcastic persona that was so well done in Deadpool, and he's just done phenomenally for himself business wise. Like I came to know Ryan Reynolds. I'd still get confused with who Ryan Gosling was. Like I don't have a great appreciation of his background. I think he started out like with The Notebook and some notable movies to start his career. But that's what he was just really fun in this movie. Like and I think he played Ken recently. I think he had a big success in the Barbie
Oh yeah.
movie, right? But he was again he acted well. He played his character well. He kept it fun and enjoyable. I was bought in. I was like, what's going to happen to the Fall Guy here? What's happened to the stuntman? Like, I want to see. I think he did a great job. I know you're a fan.
Yeah, I'm a huge Ryan Gosling fan, Andy, and I feel like sometimes I'm out on an island on this one, but like I've watched a lot of his stuff for a long time, and I've just grown in appreciation for him. Like he did, Crazy Stupid Love with Steve Carell. That was a little romantic comedy type of thing. There's a scene there at the end that I just really appreciate. I love him in The Big Short. He played a great character in that, and he had some very memorable scenes in that. Yeah, some people will remember him in like some of the other he did shows like The Ides of March. He did a good one with, yeah, I know not your favorite guy, Russell Crowe, but I think it was like the Nice Guys. That was a good one. La La Land. Blade, the remake or the I guess the sequel to Blade Runner. He
Yeah,
did
that's
Blade
right.
Runner 2049, and he played Ken. I mean, obviously he had a lot of other movies, but he played Ken in the Barbie movie. I don't think you saw that movie, but he was awesome in that movie, and I really appreciate him. I really love him. I think he has a really good. I don't think he takes himself too seriously. He has a good, good depth of character that he does and he plays. I really enjoy him, so I'll have
Yeah.
to check that out. So
So I got a little man crush there, Dave, and that's okay. That's all right. It's enjoy. He's a good looking guy. So hey, it was fun. It was fun. I would say, we've talked about this before. Like some movies are just way too complicated now.
yeah,
Like you just can't enjoy them, right? Like you just want to be entertained. And like I was saying with Gladiator, like it was fun. Like it was a fine movie, good way to dial out and just like enjoy a movie. And you finished it and we're like, hey, that was pretty good, But like we finished The Fall Guy and we were like like that was good. Like we were really entertained. And it's been a while since I walked out of a movie like that. I think the cast was big in that. I think the story was a big part of that too. They just did a good job of making it a fun story, and there's just not enough movies like that. So
yeah.
I appreciate your Ryan Gosling fandom. I don't know if you're if you're serving still as an officer in the fan club, but you did a great job. And I think it was fun to watch him, do well. And he still looks like a kid, right? He still looks like he's 22
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah, we'll be like as some of these actors age and grow. It's funny because there's another, you talk about like the guys who has these similar kind of arc was Hugh Grant.
Yeah,
Early on did a lot of these romantic comedies, did a lot of other things as he was younger. Now that he's older, he's getting playing these like crouchety old like kind of like villain type of
yeah,
characters in some of his shows. So I'll be interested, and I think he's doing a pretty good job at it.
yeah. He,
Um,
he does do a good job with it.
because he's got this kind of like chip on his shoulder and such. So it will be interesting to see how Ryan Gosling's career plays out as loses those boyish charm and good looks and all this other stuff, and ages like the rest of us. Same thing with Ryan Reynolds. He's got that. Definitely plays to that, persona. What happens when they're a little bit older and the good looks aren't quite there as the same as they were before? So. All
His
right,
good looks, his
Andy.
good looks will always be there, Dave. His good looks will always be there.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I mean, do you see how we've aged out, Andy? Our good looks are no longer there either. So,
I was,
but
I was going to go exactly the opposite direction on that one. I was going to say they still look great, but okay, all right. All right, break me down on a Monday morning.
I gotta get rid of my holiday pounds. So now that we're back to like normal, we're finally in normal routines, Andy.
Yeah,
Like no more visitors coming in. We had our son and his girlfriend come up this weekend. Went to the Virginia Tech game, which I froze my ass off on.
yeah, it was cold.
But that was the end of it, and now we're just moving forward. So back into school, back into the routines.
Yeah.
But what is always going to stay the same, Andy? You and I on this podcast. So
That's right. You're welcome, America.
you're welcome, America. All right, Andy. Anything to wrap up with on this week?
No, happy Monday,
Or
Dave.
this week?
Thanks to those that are listening, and super excited for the Lions and the NFL playoffs. They're here.
Okay, we'll talk more about it later this week, Andy. We also have the college football playoff. Penn State playing Notre Dame on Thursday, so we'll probably talk on that on Wednesday a little bit. But Andy, get out, start shoveling the snow.
Yeah, got to do it. Got to do it.
All right, get it before it gets all too bad, and then you break your back. So, all right, Andy. With that, I'll catch up with you on Wednesday.